Night has fallen upon the town. It's a gentle summer night, smelling of flowers and hot asphalt. The sunlight is replaced by the shining neon colors and bland yellow streetlights. The air is easy to breathe, as if the air pressure was noticeably lighter than usual. The feeling of daytime in the hot summer has lasted long into the evening and night. I grab Rin by her sleeve like I seen Emmy do, and to my surprise she obediently follows. The pale streetlights fight against the all-enveloping darkness as we walk together. The guide and the guided, although neither knows the destination. But it doesn't matter. This is one moment where the usual silences that have become a ritual between me and Rin at last fit perfectly. We walk side by side, choosing directions on impulse or inspiration. Sometimes we find ourselves back at a street we've already seen once or twice. Sometimes we find new streets. All of them look asleep. Rin doesn't ask where we're going. Maybe she doesn't care. Maybe she knows I don't know or have an answer. The silence of the night isn't scary. After all, the lights drive most of it away. The air grows cooler as the moon progresses along its journey in the cloudless sky. Few cars roam the streets at this hour, and even fewer people are on the sidewalk. The apparently lack of nocturnal life is somehow befitting of this place. There are around the corner clock shops and cafes, sure, but the atmosphere is like the town itself is slumbering. A town that sleeps 8 hours a day. The city I grew up in, bathed in the electric glow of a million light bulbs, never slept. I've seen it for myself. It's not the first time I've done this. It happened one of the first times I was home alone. Both my parents had business trips that neither could cancel, so they deemed me old enough to survive 2 days on my own. Their misplaced trust in me didn't not go to waste, as I proceeded to spend the entire night out walking around the city. Even afterward, I couldn't say what made me stay downtown longer than I intended after school. I didn't feel like going home, so I stayed through the evening and eventually through the entire night. I walked along concentric circles around a landmark chosen at random. For some reason, the nighttime city felt fascinating, so I walked into the streets. At every intersection, it was possible to choose a direction at random because they all lead nowhere. The aimless wandering made me see things differently. I hope I'll do the same for Ren. You know, who hasn't walked at night, like, just around your city, or at a different city before, and into the next morning, to like 10 o'clock in the morning, and then you just sleep for like 10 hours and your schedule is fucked up. But yeah, sometimes just walking at night is so amazing, even if you say nothing at all. You don't even have to spend money. You don't have to eat anywhere. You just observe. It's a great feeling. If the city's kind of busy, I mean, it doesn't have to be busy, but it has to have some life to it. But whatever. Though, no, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that now at some areas because shit, people get shots in some areas. But like 10 years ago, it was much better. But whatever. We stopped to buy some hot coffee and snacks from our vending machine, and then locate a bench where we sit down to eat. There's no time in the night of the town, so we spend an unknown amount of it just sitting there, observing the stillness of the usual vivid townscape. Still, it's getting very late, and soon it's getting very early. So, is this it? Hearing Rin's voice surprises me. She doesn't sound bored, rather her tone is inquisitive, uncertain as to why I dragged her out here, yet curious to find out the answer. Yeah, have you ever been out at night? It's like a different world. The remark sends her thinking for a while, looking around as if she was looking for something. The wisp of light reflecting from the corners of her eyes are suddenly very sharp. It's not a different world, it's the same. Just asleep. What do you think that this town is dreaming of? Maybe something like car sheep, or building sheep. Why are dreams always about sheep? I've never seen a sheep-related dream that I can remember. Do different towns dream of different things? Probably. How could they not? I answer half jokingly, but half spurring her on. For the first time tonight, it seems like a bit of Rin's life has returned to her. She doesn't continue her list of rhetorical questions, though. Instead, she leans back a little and looks up at the moon, traveling above the town. The cool breeze blowing between the buildings seems to steal the conversation away before it even really began. It's too bad. It was like Rin would got out of her blue mood. I wish I could somehow know the right thing to say, but I realize I can't do that the way I am now. I'm too far apart from Rin. I haven't really managed to crack her open. She's just too complicated. It's like she's open to everything, equally disinterested in everything from the outset. In truth, she's locked tighter than anyone else I know, even myself. Sometimes she locks herself inside that inner world, shutting everyone else out. Everything else out. Every time her thoughts flow freely from her mind, but not organized in any fashion that would make them intelligible to the rest of the world. What comes out in the form of paintings, I can't interpret. To me, it's just a sea of colors and shapes, not a message. She's too far away. I know now it was a bad idea to try to reach her for her in the way I did, but I can't help liking her. I look at the fingers of my right hand, trying to remember what Rin's lips felt like against them. Do you ever feel like you're trying to reach out for something that's impossible to reach? Rin turns her gaze to me, tilting her head quizzically. I wonder if she understands the meaning of my own rhetorical question or not. Either way, I like how I can manage to catch her attention just by speaking aloud nowadays. All the time. At least I think so. That's what painting feels like, a lot of the time. Or all the time. I don't know. Sometimes I get the feeling that I can't really paint what I want. Sometimes it feels like it's just another shadow of me. Like a mirror that doesn't look right. Like talking? Maybe. When I was little, I didn't really have friends. Maybe it's the same now. The only things I liked were pens and paints. They were the only things that understood me. Now it feels like that's going away too. Change really is a scary thing. I wish I could understand you. She looks at me, like, he loves using that damn word. She looks at me, roused by my thoughts, materializing as words spoken aloud. Me too. Whatever she meant, she wished for me to understand her to understand me, or her to understand herself. I never asked, nor do I find out. I see her eyes searching for mine, serious and cryptic as they are. I'm not getting any explanation from there. Don't worry about it. I will. Small hint of a smile waving on her lips. When she's like this, it makes me feel that maybe there's hope for us. We get along so well for being so different. It's just that we never really get along precisely because we are so different. Maybe it was Rin's passionate approach to her own art exhibition, or perhaps my own careless words, but last week was different from usual. The small friction between us seems to be somewhat volatile, but at least we now seem to be back to normal. Relatively speaking. We stand up from the bench and pick another direction in which to go. The wee hours of night slowly pass by as we measure the streets of the town, one step at a time. One step at a time. I'm sorry. We are finally at ease, not minding the rare lone passerby, the eerie darkness, each other, ourselves. Where's my water? Here's some water. Sorry. Rin's steps seem lighter, like the heavy air around her is letting go. Little by little, it makes me feel happy. We don't talk, save for the single remarks that are spoken to the knights of the town, and never answered. The details jump into the eyes instead of being the usual blur they are during the day. As the sky above the town changes from deep, dark blue to gray, I know that night is soon ending. It's almost morning. Rin looks up, too, and nods at me. It's true, the coming light of morning is creeping through the sky, climbing higher by the minute. It feels surreal. The sun won't come up for a while, but I get the feeling that the end of the night really is here and now. Should we head back? Rin nods again, twice, her head waving in the breeze that seemed to be... What the fuck? Heralding the coming dawn? What? Dude! Abruptly she takes off, taking the lead in this walkabout of which I brought her. It seems she's really in a better mood. This too makes me feel happy. Rin's navigational skills are probably not much better than mine, but we eventually find ourselves in front of Sai's place. I don't know if this was any help. I did this once before, but it was more because of a stupid impulse, or maybe restlessness back then. Maybe this was a silly idea and it didn't really help you at all. She just nods as an answer. So, do you know how you're going to destroy yourself now? I have some ideas. I don't want to see you for a while. Don't come and see me. Do something else. Her ultimatum catches me completely off guard. What the hell? What's that about? You said before that you didn't mind. I mind now. It's just for a while. I have to do this alone. I don't like that. Why? I don't want to go like this. Why? I just don't want to feel this distance between you and me. She tilts her head like a bird, her eyes narrowing a little as she thinks. Then you can touch me. What? You can touch me if you want. You'd feel better, right? I don't know. Try. Where do you want me to touch you? No boobs or left ear. Other than that, you can decide. What? No! The left ear is my favorite! Fine. I raise my head hesitantly, even though I don't know why I'm actually doing this. Her eyes tell me she's not going to explain. 1,000 thoughts race through my head as I slowly bring my hand closer to Rin's face and press 3 fingers against her pale cheek. Rin feels soft and cold. She closes her eyes on contact and visibly relaxes. I can feel her soft breathing, her muscles releasing tension as my fingertips caress her cheek. She doesn't rest her hand against my palm or anything else you'd expect a girl to do in this sort of situation. In fact, she hasn't reacted at all, save for those now shut eyes. Once I withdraw my hand, she opens them again. It might be just an illusion created by the timid morning sunlight playing with my eyes, but Rin looks like she's holding back a smile. This is the problem with our relationship. Half the time I have no idea what's going on, and the other half I just fail to understand why things are going on like they are. As usual, I'm not going to get an explanation. Rin really takes a step towards the door. See you later. Then she disappears from my reach for an undefined period of time. I hold true to my promise of honoring Rin's request, even if it's against my own will. I try to redirect my focus into my studies, but end up zoning out during classes and doing only the minimum amount of work required. Still, I start looking into my post-high school options a bit more seriously. I pour over university brochures and various career paths. I'm good at studying, so I want to go to a university. I'm pretty sure I could get into a pretty decent one too. The only problem is I'm deciding which subject would be the best. Kinju ridicules me about subjecting myself to the control of the feminist teachers when I tell him about trying to get into a university. I don't ask him about what he wants to do in the future, because he's going to be the savior of mankind. We all know that for a fact. I wonder what Rin thinks of her own future. I bet she's not as lost as I am, and if she is, it's probably the same in some completely different way. I feel somewhat disappointed finding out that I can't stop thinking about her. Her request makes me worry about her, and even think about her more than I did when I couldn't see her and see her. Her request makes me worry about her and think about her more than I did when I could go and see her when I wanted. It bothers me that I can't. That's a truck going by. I was like, is that the game? Oh, that's the game. I was like, I hear a truck going by, but I don't see it outside my window. As expected, I eventually crack. Late one afternoon, I get on the bus heading downtown. I try to avoid explaining to myself exactly when I'm doing this, and keep thinking about other things for the entire duration of the trip. After a 5-minute walk, I'm standing in front of the gallery. I walk past it to the door of the Altaria, but at the last moment I lose my courage and continue on the way to the next corner, at which I turn back. Did I press record? I'm pretty sure I did. Will Rin hate me if I go and see her? I wonder what she's like when she's angry. I've never seen her angry. I've seen her happy, I've seen her sad, and I've seen her neutral. The 3 expressions of Rin. The worst thing would be if I actually ruined something by going to see her. Like she simply seemed to imply it would happen. But there's no way that can be true, can there? It's just one of her quirks. I walk back down the street and end up passing the Altaria door for the 2nd time. Only this time, as I continue all the way to the gallery, its owner is standing just outside the door, watching me. I thought that was you. What are you doing? I really don't want to explain the circumstances between Rin and me, so I get flustered and end up mumbling something unclear. She takes stock of me and then sighs deeply, looking wildly amused somehow. Hope she didn't misunderstand. Would you like to come in? Your teacher's visiting. We were discussing Rin's exhibition. Thanks for the invitation, but I really should. Don't be shy now. Come on in. I follow Sai inside, finding the art teacher indeed is there. Shin is standing at the big desk, contemplating what looks like an invitation card. Look what the cat dragged in. Heh, you get it? Cause I call Rin a cat, and I'm following Rin cause, well, you get it. Nagai! Wait, wrong one. Nagai! Hello there, my boy! Wait, no. Ah, fuck it. He doesn't seem to be fazed at all by my appearance. How do you like the invitations? I look at them quickly. They're kind of fancy, with one of Rin's paintings printed on the front cover in shiny gold writing. I don't know about that painting. It's disturbing. They look fine to me. They're magnificent! I absolutely love the design, and the embossed gold lettering, fabulous. Good print work too. You have to tell me when you get these done. What does Rin think? I haven't asked. She said she'd be fine with my decision anyway. Shin laughs. He's laughing, okay? Still turning the gold-lettered cards in his hands. That's my girl. She wants to focus on the essentials only. Good for her. Her work is progressing well too. It seems she found new inspiration. I think she's been sort of weird lately. It's like she's wrestling with something, with herself probably, and it makes her confused. She said she had a hard time painting the last time I saw her. It seems to be resolved now, however. You know, she practically lives up there, right? Sam makes a simple gesture with her hand as if sweeping my question aside. Sure. Don't you think that's weird? Maybe it is. Still, I think she understands how big an opportunity this is and is going for it full throttle. Is it really that big? Shin sets the card down and brushes some imaginary dust off his jacket. Well, how should I put it? There are times in everyone's lives where something really big washes over you and changes you forever. This could be just that moment for Tazaki. I see. Yeah, I think I've heard something like that happen to me. I'm referring to the incident that brought me to Yamako. Neither of the two adults can comment on that, however. It might well be that everyone has or will. At any rate, surrendering oneself to art is a big decision, and a thorny path too, quite thorny indeed. Tazaki has almost everything one needs, but whether she has the will to pull through, that's a different question. I should know that best. I tried going down that path too, but turned away in the end. I don't understand what he's trying to say. Let's go with that one. Is that why you're being so supportive of Rin? Because you know it's hard? So answer me instead of the art teacher. Maybe partially. Does it bother you? Well, no, I'm not saying it's a bad thing either, I just don't get it. Like the room, it's an amazing place, but it hasn't been in a long time. And now Rin came 17 years and 4 months. I raise my eyes to meet Sai's, a calm, calculating stare. Not unlike Rin's own, it's fixed upon me. Shin's usual smile has suddenly died too. It feels like the air pressure in the gallery has suddenly dropped along with the temperature. That is how long it's been since someone's worked there. Oh. I guess it's a story to everything. Sai crosses her arms with a quiet sigh and leans against the table. That room belonged to my husband. He was an artist too. He lived up there. Well, we both lived up there for some time after we got married. We actually met through him as a matter of fact. That's right. Anyway, we were young and foolish, or at least I was. We were studying art at the same school, art history for me, painting for him. And as he just said, this was about the time I met your teacher. Anyway, I fell madly in love with this person, or maybe with his art. He was brilliant. His genius just shone so brightly whenever he put a brush to canvas. Her voice almost takes on a reverent tone of sort as she reminisces about her husband. I look at her hands and knows that she's not wearing a wedding band, and on top of that she keeps speaking in past tense. He really was the kind of artist who would make history books, one of a direct line to God. That's why I fought anyway. Silly, isn't it? I think we all knew he was something else back then. Even the teachers. That genius, well, I said it consumed him. Everything, absolutely everything was second to art. Be it social life, getting a job, even me. It just wasn't as important. It seems that artists can't look at their own work as just a job, you know. It's something more fundamental to them. It was hard to live with a person like that. Hard to be married to a person like that. She takes a pause and looks to see if I understand. I guess the point of the story hasn't emerged yet, or I missed it completely. So how did you cope with it? My question, probably the exact one she was waiting for, draws a dry chuckle out of her. However I could. Sometimes it was hard. Sometimes I forced myself into believing he would change. I pursued my own things too, so it was easy just to let him be. It's not that you can stop an artist from painting if he wants to paint. Plus, being with an artist is fascinating. I can't say that I hated it. Art schools are full of sorts of posers and pretentious smucks, but true artists are lovely people in general. I think that's why your teacher has taken such a shine to a little kitten. She really has the makings of an artist, and a good one at that. She wants to paint, she must paint. Quite so. She's the best student I've ever had. It's about finding her own way now. Maybe that's why I wanted to give her this chance. If she goes to an art school, it'll be good for her. Artistic expression is about finding one's own place, your own limits, and then working with that, to expand them, to break them, whatever works best. But you have to know the limits of what you can do. Anyway, long story short, my husband was a person without these kind of limits. And a unique individual, but a being can't endure like that. They can't. He died young. After he was gone, I couldn't stand the room anymore and tried to forget it. That kind of thing happens. You could say that his flame was bright but brief. Her story comes to an abrupt end, but it didn't seem like she's going to go any further. Shin toys with the invitation cards lying on the table as if doing something just for the sake of doing it. But what if Ren is like your husband too? What if she's a person who has a unlimited potential? Sai's hand twitches and I see once more that sad look welling up in her eyes. It's the look she gets when she watches Ren. The look about she remembered her husband. I doubt it. Sai stands up and digs in the pocket of her jacket for a cigarette and lighter. Her hands are shaking. I'm going out for a smoke. Wordlessly, Shin and I both decide to follow her after a moment. It's already dark outside. Sai is standing with her back to us, taking sharp, occasional drags on a cigarette. Its weak amber glow illuminates her face, framing her sharp jawline. Maybe it's best to call it a night. I could give you a lift back to school if you want, Nakai. You're not going anywhere. Shan, I need a drink. We're going into that place at the corner. The teacher looks at the old lady, then shrugs at me apologetically. It's no problem. I'll catch the bus back. I'm headed upstairs to see if Ren will come back to school with me anyway. I think she's been staying overnight here too often lately. Sai locks the front door of the gallery and links arms with the old art teacher. I feel strange looking at them. I wonder what it feels like to have friends who you've been friends with for decades, for most of your life. I can't imagine it. The two of them start making their way down the street towards the bar on the corner, so I quickly head upstairs to the room, ready to get what I originally came here for. I climb upstairs and enter carefully.